You're welcome back, SaharaTV. President Obama was in Africa last week. This visit has been widely covered by the world press. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to speak with somebody who was on the trip with the president and also look at some of the business opportunities that trip and beyond that American policy has for African businesses. We have on the line right now from Washington, D.C., Rahama Wright, who is the CEO of Shea Yeleen. You're welcome to SaharaTV, Rahama.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks for making time. First of all, let me ask you, what's Shea Yeleen?
Shea Yeleen is an impact company that I founded that works with shea butter producers in northern Ghana. And what we do is we help shea butter producers bring high-quality shea products to the U.S. marketplace. So this is an example of one of our products, which is a body butter.
Fantastic. So how did you end up on the trip with the president?
So I also serve on President Obama's advisory council on doing business in Africa. And so that's what brought me to Kenya for GES.
So that was, you traveled with the president as part of a team with business on their minds, basically, I would assume. Were there others with you in a similar capacity?
Yeah, we had other council members who traveled we traveled with the Commerce Department, and they represented different sectors from media, Teresa Clark from Africa.com, as well as Melissa Cook, who does advisory work and research work, and Kavan McCall, who runs an energy company.
Just curious, did you travel on Air Force One with the president?
I wish. No, I did not.
Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the fine details of that trip. First of all, what would you say was the president's motive for making that trip and for taking people like you along with him?
So the motive of the trip was to celebrate entrepreneurship and change the perception in terms of how we look at Africa and the opportunities that are available in Africa. I think one of the things and one of the goals that not only the president but also everyone who attended from the government side as well as the private sector leaders is to shed light on the fact that Africa is an emerging market. The continent is ready for business, and we're ready to change old ways of thinking in terms of making the continent progress forward. And business is one of the tools to help address a lot of the challenges and issues that we see when it comes to Africa. And I think that, initially, one of the reports that came out in terms of, traveling to a hotbed of terror, well, one of the things is that Africa is more than what traditional media says. It's a place that is very diverse. It's a place that has many cultures and many resources, and it's an opportunity to really look at Africa from a different lens and as a huge player in the business world.
So while you were there, did you have the opportunity to speak with the business community in that country, in those two countries, I should say? I assume you were in Ethiopia as well with him?
No, I was just in Kenya.
In Kenya, okay. So let's restrict it to Kenya now. Did you get the opportunity to speak with the business community in Kenya? What kind of headway did you make?
And so I not only spoke with the business community in Kenya, but I spoke with so many different entrepreneurs from all over Africa. I spoke with entrepreneurs from Uganda, from South Africa, from Zambia, and there were also entrepreneurs from Latin America as well. And so it was a very diverse group of individuals and business leaders, and everyone was there to talk about how to use business as a catalyst for change.
Now, the press is reporting that this trip, as it is with other American policy lately, is a knee-jerk reaction against the backdrop that the Chinese are making some kind of a headway business-wise in Africa. How much of a Chinese presence did you see in Kenya?
Well, I didn't see a heavy presence, but again, I was very isolated in terms of my movements. So, I spent time where GES was being held, and so I didn't get a chance to really tour and look at Nairobi and look at the city. So I'm sure my perspective is limited, but I wouldn't say it's a knee-jerk reaction at all. I think that it's a very strategic analysis that's going behind America's renewed efforts in terms of business engagement. engagement with Africa. The creation of the Advisory Council on Doing Business in Africa is one example of how private sector leaders are coming together to think strategically about how to provide recommendations to the U.S. government on how to improve business engagement between the two continents. I would not call it a knee-jerk reaction. I would call it a thoughtful, strategic process that's happening to really improve trade relationships between the two continents.
And how do you think Kenya is going to benefit from this visit?
I think one, tourism, I definitely think is going to benefit. You know, I think that Kenya has so many different resources, and one of which is all of the amazing tourist sites that the country has to offer. And I actually got a chance, one of the business leaders I talked to is actually in Kenya and does tourism and has a lodge. And they have seen over the last few years, in terms of some of the volatility, a drop in tourism because people are afraid to travel to Kenya. But I think having the president visit the country and being able to shed some light on some of the progress that's being made, and the fact that the president is bringing exposure and visibility to that country, I think it will help the tourism industry.
So while you were there on the sidelines, we read in the press, I heard that there was a group of women were planning a naked demonstration against President Obama, you know, as an anti-gay kind of demonstration. Did you see or hear that happen?
I heard the rumor, but I did not see it.
You heard that it actually happened?
No, I heard the rumor.
That it was supposed that they were going to do it.
Yeah,
but you didn't really see it.
I didn't see anything of that nature.
Okay. All right. President Obama also made a very blunt statement, just like he promised he would, about gay rights. President Uhuru Kenyatta also responded quite bluntly as well. What are Kenyans making of both gentlemen's stance on gay rights?
Well, I honestly can't speak on behalf of the Kenyan people, and I think that this is an issue that, you know, it's a personal issue for a variety of reasons, and I think that what we seek to see in this world, and I'm speaking, you know, on behalf of myself, I'm not representing anyone at this point, I'm not representing the U.S. government, is we want to see a world where all people are treated equally and all people have a right to live as they want, and that people should not be persecuted based on the choices that they're making. And so that's definitely a belief that I have, but I can't speak on behalf of others in terms of how they interpret or how they view this issue.
How did the Kenyan people receive the president? I mean, from what we've seen on the media, they were very enthusiastic in their welcome of a man that they consider kin. What was it like? How, on the trip with him, what did you see? How touched were you?
Well, I definitely can say, you know, I got a chance to sit in on the opening plenary, so that's where I saw a lot of the engagement between the president and the Kenyan people, and also between the president and all sorts of people who attended the plenary. And it was very positive. I think that people are excited. There's energy. People, of course, the fact that the president is also a diaspora is something that people really connect to, and I think that that's why he has the ability to truly bridge the gap and bring not only awareness, but bring some clarity around the issue of people seeing Africa, not just Kenya, but Africa in a different light, and changing the perceptions that we tend to see when we think about Africa.
Beyond business, did you make a personal reconnection with Africa? Is this your first time?
Oh, absolutely not. Well, I'm Ghanaian American, and I have the opportunity to travel quite frequently to the cooperatives in northern Ghana where Shea Yeleen works. And although I've spent most of my life in the U.S., I'm definitely someone who's very enthusiastic about my Ghanaian and my African roots. And so I get a chance to travel to the continent quite often, and it's always an honor and always a pleasure. And I'm one of those people who's a die-hard Africanist.
Awesome. So let's talk about Shea Yeleen for a second. The shea butter is something that is not very common. It comes, from certain parts of the world, including northern Ghana. As a matter of fact, it's very common in northern Ghana. What gave you the confidence that you could really make a business out of shea butter, which actually is not very expensive in Ghana itself?
Well, one, for me, I got into the issue of shea production really because of the fact that women are the traditional producers, and it's a tree, it's a natural resource that grows in about 19 countries from West to East Africa. And so for me, initially, the reason why I got involved in the shea butter industry was because I really wanted to improve the ability of women to be able to create high quality products and then gain market access for those products. So that was my purpose of creating Shea Yeleen. In terms of why did I think that would be successful? Well, one, I think that one of the things as people from the diaspora is that we have to get engaged. If we see supply chains that are not supporting local farmers and local communities, we have to get engaged and see how we can change that. And so for me, I wanted to get engaged in looking at how to improve the shea butter supply chain so that women could financially benefit from their labor. And I looked at the market and I saw that the majority of shea that comes to the global marketplace is not being sourced from women in Africa. The majority of shea butter is made in China, it's made in Asia, it's made in Europe, and the raw material, which is shea seeds, is what is distributed globally. So my idea was to look at how to add value within the supply chain and how to help women access the tools and the resources that they needed to create a high quality shea product that we can then link to the marketplace. And because I saw the fact that majority of shea in the marketplace is not natural, it's refined shea, sourced from what I had mentioned in terms of Europe and Asia, so it's not a natural product, it's a refined product. And then of course the fact that the lack of visibility for women who are the authors, who are the producers of this amazing product, those were the two reasons that led me to believe that there was an opportunity and I would be able to help women leverage their uniqueness within the marketplace to be able to bring high quality products to market in a way that was sustainable, in a way that was providing customers with a great product that was also sustainable for the women who produced it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Rahama Wright, CEO of Shea Yeleen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
You too. That was Rahama Wright, CEO of Shea Yeleen, who traveled with President Barack Obama on the first leg of his trip to Kenya. Stay tuned. We're back with more.